This video was approved by the other members of the International Committee of Humor. I'm Noodle, and these are the 11 revised rules of comedy. Number 1. Never explain the joke. This one should be obvious. Explaining a joke just makes it less funny. If a joke is explained to you, then you don't get the satisfying feeling of understanding it on your own. Number 2. Punchlines should end the joke. In writing, the end of a sentence should always be the strongest word. This applies to comedy as well. The joke should always end in the punchline. I'll use a classic as an example. Why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one. You see, hole in one is the punchline, so it comes at the end of the joke. If the joke was, why did the golfer bring 2 pairs of pants? If he got a hole in one, he'd have a spare. It wouldn't have its place in the Comedy Hall of Fame. Scientifically, after the punchline, your brain checks out, so the punchline needs to be at the very end of the joke. Number 3. The rule of 3. Always repeat a punchline 3 times, but don't just restate it. Do something slightly different. A man walks into a bar and says, "One for me, and one for the road." It is mathematically proven to be funniest that way. If you don't repeat a joke, you're losing out on potential laughs. I'll take one for the road. But never repeat a punchline more than 3 times. After 4 or more repeats, the joke starts to get boring and tedious. Repeating a joke too much is a sign of a bad comedian. And don't forget, one for the road. What I just did there was a perfect example. I'm sure everyone can attest to it being extremely humorous. Number 4. Know your audience. Make jokes that will be found funny by your audience. If you're performing at a comedy club in downtown New York, make jokes about New York pizza. If you're performing at a comedy club in any city, make a joke about parking. If you're performing at a comedy club on the internet, make a joke about a meme. Make fun of things that your audience understands. Number 5. Exaggerate when using sarcasm, but not too much. Exaggeration is good. Making a topic ridiculous can be very humorous, especially while being sarcastic. But don't use unnecessary words. Refrain from using adverbs like definitely and totally. It doesn't add to the exaggeration of the joke, and only adds unnecessary words. I'll give an example. Yeah, you should do that. Versus, yeah, you should totally do that. The first one is much stronger. Number 6. Do not restate a punchline. If a visual punchline just occurred, it is not necessary to state that punchline again. It is redundant and unnecessary. I'll give an example. If someone falls down as a punchline, another character saying, "He fell down," doesn't make it any funnier. Number 7. Punchlines need to be punchlines. A random word or phrase isn't comedy. It's just lazy. It shows the comedian can't think of anything. Punchlines need to be at the end of every joke. No exceptions. Number 8. Unless it's an anti-joke. Anti-jokes are special cases. In these types of jokes, not having a punchline is the punchline. You might find that paradoxical, but I'll give an example. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. It's funny because you expect there to be a punchline, but it never comes. It is scientifically proven that your brain searches for an ending to a joke, so when you don't get it, it subverts your expectations. Number 9. Always subvert expectations. We have been talking a lot about punchlines, but how do you make one? You need to subvert expectations. If someone expects your punchline, they won't find it funny because they already know the joke. This applies to almost every joke, except for timeless jokes. Number 10. Try to make your jokes timeless. First, I will define a timeless joke. A timeless joke is a joke that will make you laugh again and again. I'll give an example. You've probably heard it before. 2 muffins are sitting in an oven. One looks at the other and says, "How long are we in for?" The other muffin says, "Ah, the muffin's talking." This will always be funny. But how do you make a joke like this? I can't give you a definitive answer, but I can give you a few tips. If you are laughing while writing it, that's a good sign. Repeat the joke to yourself again and again, and tweak it until you consistently find it funny. And have in mind the other rules in this video. Number 11. Have fun. Just kidding. Number 11. Don't have fun. Just kidding. But for real this time. Number 11. Have sort of fun. Just kidding. I'll stop joking now. Number 11. Understand the relationship between quality and quantity. Should quality really always be valued over quantity? This question always seemed unsolvable until now. I have set up an equation for finding out the value of a joke. T to the power of LA minus P minus LE times 10, or time spent making joke in minutes to the power of seconds of laughter minus seconds after punchline, minus length of joke times 10, equals the value of the joke in noodles. By this way of measuring jokes, 2 jokes that took 5 minutes to make you laugh for 2.5 seconds, end with a punchline and last 5 seconds, is more valuable than 1 joke that took 10 minutes to make, makes you laugh for 6.3 seconds, has 4 seconds after the punchline, and lasts 9 seconds. So whenever deciding which jokes to keep and which to get rid of, use this formula. While following these rules doesn't necessarily make you a comedic genius, it'll set you on your way.